I have always loved receiving handmade gifts. I don't look for or see any of the imperfections in the gift. I merely see the time and love that was put into creating this and then gifted to me. Yet when I make something, all I see are the mistakes I made. And I have had to learn through the years to overlook that because when I show it to other people, all they see is the beauty and the time that I have taken into making that for them. After all, it's the imperfections that make it unique and special. Welcome, friends, and welcome to my little craft corner, as I call it. It happens to be a little area on my island that this, for some reason, tends to be where I sit when I am working or when I am crafting. And I like it because I can have things set up. And if I need space to make dinner later or whatever, there's plenty of space to do that. I'm not bothering anyone. So I have been sitting here working away at a fun and new to me little craft that I thought it worth sharing with you. But as I was sitting here working away, I thought, when I come up with an idea for a craft, or maybe it's doing some home decor, I feel like that moose from the children's book, If You Give a Moose a Muffin. Are you familiar with that book? I have it handy because I was just reading it to Theodore recently, which is probably why my mind was going there. If you don't know the story, basically it's this moose that goes to this child's house. And I believe it's a little boy who gives the moose a muffin. And then the moose asks, could I have some jam to go with it? So he gives him some blackberry jam. The moose eats all of the jam. So he decides they need to make more jam. So they need to go pick more blackberries. Well, it's chilly outside, so the moose wants a sweater. The sweater has a loose button, so the moose decides he needs to fix this button. So he asks for a needle and thread to fix the button so he can wear the sweater out in the cold, to pick the blackberries, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. It just goes on and on. Well, I feel that's how my mind works. I start here and then I think, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, whether it's in my decorating or crafting. And I say that because that's kind of how this craft began. Please tell me I am not the only one that does this. I hope there's many of you that can relate. Let me explain. So recently these towels came in. I had purchased these, there's different patterns to carry in my online store. Now I ordered these because, and I believe it's because actually I think it's this one. I have had this brand of, it's actually a towel I've had it for several years. I tend to use it more as a placemat doily. I'm not sure what to call it. I will use it on my coffee table, my end tables. I have one right now, this pattern, in the middle of my island, just to kind of keep it protected. Plus it also makes it pretty. I had found my first one originally several years ago in a home decor store here in New England, and I loved it. And I hadn't seen them again. So just recently I found another one. So I decided to look to see if I could carry them in my store, and I could. So I received them in. That got me thinking, is this something I could kind of make? Maybe something to coordinate with it. So then I proceeded to order some linen napkins. And my idea was to use some stamps, to hand stamp these, using stamps with some fabric paint. And I don't know, I just thought it would be a fun thing to do, even maybe for my daughters to do with me, although I think I'm going to make them each some for Easter. So as I was working on it, I also thought it would be a fun craft to share with you because you can be very creative with it. You can do it as you want. It's a very easy craft to do. And that you can see this is kind of, I used one as a practice because I wanted to kind of play with how much paint I put on the stamp, how to maybe combine colors, that type of thing. So I decided to use one and I wanted it to be on the linen so I could see how it would look. So I just want, this is kind of my practice one. So then as I'm sitting here crafting away, my mind's just going again. And I just realized, wow, Easter is coming up. It is going to be a week from today, the day you're watching this video. And I don't know about you, but I was thinking it was still a couple of weeks out. So it's really coming upon me quickly. That got me to thinking there's another craft I would like to try with my Easter eggs this year. If I get to that in time, I am going to share that with you also because I think it would be a very fun and quick way to decorate our Easter eggs this year. I did share with you a couple of years ago how I had decoupaged some Easter eggs. These are not real, obviously. These are a few years old, but it was a fun little project. And the idea that I have is actually a way to decorate real eggs, the hard-boiled ones that we make for Easter Day. So I am going to turn the camera around so I can show you how I'm doing this. I am not an expert, like I said, it's just something I'm trying, but it's been really fun. I could see kind of going crazy with it because there's just all kinds of things you could do. And speaking of Easter, quite honestly, you could easily do this as your Easter napkins, just in one corner stamp. Even if you're doing the flowers like I'm doing, you certainly can do flowers as your Easter decor and then have them for the entire spring and summer to use. The main thing to remember is when you are done and when everything is dry, to take your iron, basically seal in your stamp with the heat from the iron so that you can wash them and reuse them over and over again. So please tell me I am not the only one that has a brain like this moose. Maybe that's what makes us creative. I don't know, because like I said, when I'm sitting here doing a craft, all of a sudden my mind comes up with all of these other ideas. That makes it fun. You know, we cannot take ourselves too seriously. So let's turn the camera around so I can show you what I'm doing. All you need for this project are some rubber stamps, some paint brushes, fabric paint, and I happen to use 100% linen napkins. The little paint tray that I am using actually came with my paints, and it was very handy. I did mix some paint colors in that. You certainly could use a paper plate for the same purpose. So I began by brushing the paint onto the stamp. I will say when you place it and when you are removing the stamp, it's very important to kind of hold on to the fabric and make sure you are lifting that stamp straight up. It just prevents it from any form of a blurring effect. And like I said, I did practice first on another napkin just to use as a sample. I wanted to kind of learn how dark did I want it, how light. It does take a little bit of practice. You can get somewhat of an ombre effect. And that is determined by how much paint you are putting on the stamp. The other thing is sometimes I would blot it a little first and then press it on the napkin. It does take a little bit of practice, but it's interesting because when I was showing my first one to my daughter, honestly, I was going to throw it away because of the imperfections that I saw. And when I had all of them done and I was showing them to her, that one that I was going to throw away was her favorite. So there you go. It's all through the eyes of the beholder. Just have fun with it. It was a great creative outlet because once I got the hang of it, I did have a lot of fun just creating different designs, blending different colors. Um, if I had more napkins, I probably would have kept going. Okay, well, I thought I would bring you here in the dining room so you could see my little work of art. It has better lighting in here. Here's the end results of my projects. As you can see, the look that I was kind of going for is what I would consider block printing. They're all a little different. My plan is that I am going to give one to each of my daughters for Easter, and I will keep the other for myself, and maybe stash one away for a gift in the future. But my idea is to give it to them along with one of my homemade candles. So they are getting totally a handmade gift as part of their Easter. I will probably put a little chocolate rabbit or some kind of a candy with it, but it was a lot of fun. It is not perfect by any means, and to be quite honest, that is what I like about handmade gifts. They're made with love. They're not perfect. If there are flaws, that's okay. That's what gives it character. None of us are perfect. That's what gives us character. And that's what makes us each individually special. So I just thought I would share the end results here, and let me know if you decide to try these. I am delighted now that we have warmer weather. People that have chickens are starting to sell their eggs again because they are laying again. This person, look at this. I think they get an A+ for presentation. That's incredible. I've never seen egg cartons this color, and they obviously have Araucana chickens. Some call them Easter egg chickens because they lay the colored eggs. That's what we used to have years ago, so I'm delighted when I see this. So I'm going to get these boiling so we can decorate our Easter eggs. So these are the napkins I purchased today. I actually found these, both of them, at TJ Maxx. So I thought they were cute. I'm rather excited about Beatrix Potter here. I think they will be cute. So let's get to cutting these out. back in the dining room because, well, we're losing light. It's getting evening, so I have a little better light in here. I just wanted to show you real quickly. These were the decoupage eggs that I made, I believe it was 2 years ago. So here are the eggs. I could not be happier. They turned out really cute. They were really fast. I love the fact that everything is natural. My decoupage material was merely egg white. So I love that. The part that took me the longest, quite honestly, was just cutting out the napkins. So it was fun. It was cute. I would love to do it again. I think what I'm going to do, because I will need to make a few more here. I think what I'm going to do though is I am going to cut out some more of the napkins and maybe put them on some painted eggs. I have some wooden eggs that maybe I could just paint. So anyway, there you go, friends. Let me know if this is a craft that you decide to try. I did want to point out my mistake here. I only took off 1 layer of the napkin. You need to take off 2. Now I have something else to share with you, so let's head into the library. Okay, so of course I had to bring you back into the library so I could sit in my new favorite chair. But the other reason we're here in the library is because I have a book recommendation for you. Every once in a while, I will recommend some books to you because I think they are too good not to share. This book, now typically I will buy a book similar to this for what I would call a coffee table book. Something that I think is going to have some beautiful pictures in it, maybe a little story here or there, and just have it out on my end table or coffee table for either my guests or me to pick up and just peruse. I am not familiar with this author. Her name is Christy Purifoy, and the title of the book is A House to Call Home. I cannot recommend this enough. This book pulled me in immediately. It wasn't necessarily the photography and the pictures. It was her writing. Her writing is incredible. It has so much inspiration, I guess I should say. It is what I would consider a feel-good book. So the beginning of the book is all about creating a happy place for your children to live. Now, and because of that, I feel that this book is for everyone of all ages, whether you're a young parent or I even enjoy, reading that part of it. Now, to be honest, I did skip ahead to the second half of the book. Her writing it hit home for me. Her words are a lot of how I feel. It's incredible. Honestly, I felt like I was sitting here talking with a friend. She is an incredible author, and I don't know, I would love to see her house and her gardens. Her gardens look beautiful from what I have seen. She is on Instagram. Let me read a little excerpt from this, and I will, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. But then I remembered my long ago dollhouse and understood with a rush of gratitude that my house is where I play. Isn't that true for most of us? So our home is where we play. And it's always been that way for me. When I filled a silver thimble with the tiniest flowers I could find and placed it in the doll's dining room table, I wasn't practicing for adulthood. I was playing. Today, when I gather up the dahlias I have grown and arrange their sunset colors in my thrifted silver pitcher, I become creatively absorbed in my own self-directed activity. What I am doing doesn't matter to anyone but me. It makes no tangible difference to the world, yet it makes me feel alive. as if some burden I didn't know I carried had suddenly dropped from my shoulders. And she does go on and does talk about how play, even if you think back to how did you play as a child. I know with me, I was an only child. I played Barbies a lot. However, I enjoyed setting up that Barbie's house more than brushing the hair and dressing them with all the fun clothes. Of course, I did that, but I would spend hours just setting up the house and decorating the house. I loved that part of it. She goes on to say, when we play, our minds are at rest. Our spirits are replenished. When we play, we are reminded that time was not given to us to use, but to live. And if we have no time for delight, are we really living? I love that word delight because it seems to assume some object. Happiness and joy might simply be, but delight suggests something. The taste of June strawberries, the musical chime of our grandfather clock, the way winter sunlight dances across the kitchen wall every sunny afternoon. I think you get the idea. Her writing is just, it's just wonderful. I believe her home is in Pennsylvania, from what I'm understanding. But I want to read one more little excerpt for you, and this is in the chapter called Traditions. Life is change because life is growth. But in the midst of constant change, traditions offer moments of return. With every tradition kept, we can say, here we are again, the same but new. Traditions are a predictable comfort in anxious, uncertain times. I think you're probably getting the feeling that comes through this book. Her words are beautiful. And like I said, they really hit home for me. I pick it up in the evenings just before bed. It's almost like a comfort to me. So I have only read bits and pieces here and there. I am loving it. I would recommend the book for sure. Like I said, it is for all ages, whether you are just married, a young mother, your children are out of the home. It's really all about the meaning of creating a home. And it does not have to be perfect. It's about traditions. It's about what makes you feel good. So I just had to give this a little shout out. Like I said, I don't know her, but wow, she's an incredible author. Okay, friends, well, that's it for today. I hope to have encouraged you maybe to try one of these crafts today. Again, like I said, they do not have to be perfect. That's what makes a handmade gift extra special. Let me know if you try it. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Have a great week, friends. Bye-bye.